What suggestions do you have for middle-aged monogamous married couple to spice up their sex life? We already talked about that. Now I have to start going faster because we're going to run out of time. Do you see current binaries, gender and sexual orientation, fading away in the future, at least in enlightened societies? No. I mean, I don't think the problem with the gender binary is so much that everyone's been herded to one end or the other of the sexual orientation binary or the gender binary. I think the problem is that although most people fall pretty comfortably at one end or the other of that spectrum, that people who don't fall at one end or the other of the binary have been brutalized. And we need to make room for more people to be gender non-conforming and more people to perhaps have a more fluid experience of their sexual orientation and not be policing people about their sexual orientation. But most people are going to fall in these places. I don't think it's all cultural bullying or scripting. A lot of men are comfortable being straight, kind of masculine guys. A lot of women are comfortable being straight, kind of feminine women. And I just know too many people who live in spaces like Seattle, who move through queer communities where anything goes, who are still that. And it can't be because they're just damaged. It's because it's actually who they are. You know, we look at a, you know, and I don't say this to be femme-phobic. I've actually written a lot about how I'm attracted to really effeminate guys. My husband, when I first met him, was a really kind of effeminate guy, not so much anymore. But we look at a really feminine guy, those of us in the like, smash the gender binary and the revolution, and we say, isn't it wonderful that he's so free to be who he is and be himself, but then we look at the straight guy, who's kind of a cliche straight guy, and go, well, he's just a dude. That's not who anyone authentically is. Everyone authentically, if they allowed themselves, would all be what? The feminine gay guy? I don't think so. And I like those contrasts. What are the new sex taboos now that we have the internet and everything is a fetish now? I think the only sex taboo we need is non-consensual. If 2 people are doing it, or 3 or 4 people are doing it, whatever it is, and no one's getting hurt, we don't need those taboos. That said, some people's kinks are really driven by the fact that they are taboo. If we rip all the taboos out, if we deconstruct them and get rid of all of them, we might have much less interesting sex lives than we do. So we should think about it. You know, transgression is what makes a lot of our sex lives so varied and compelling and interesting and gets that adrenaline pumping. And if nothing is transgressive, what's going to happen? We're all just going to like lay on the floor silently masturbating with a single tear rolling down. Can you have great long-lasting sex with the same partner? Indeed, you can. In your opinion, which congressman is most bangable? Well, define bangable, because there's some I'd like to bang, just not like to. How can I help facilitate my wife and I having a threesome with a man, when I am not attracted to men? My wife and I have had threesomes with women multiple times. That kind of 2 straight guys threesome, I believe, and I think I've seen videos, the men kind of orbit the woman like 2 women. That's how you do it. I've been in a relationship for nearly a decade. How do you keep things fresh? Okay, I answered that question. Single late 20s cis female that is just now beginning to explore her sexuality. What would you recommend I do when it comes to being intimate with new partners without having to fuck a lot of different people in rapid succession? Factoring issues related to making new, meaningful connections. What do you recommend I do when it comes to being intimate with new partners without having to fuck a lot of people? I don't think there is an answer to this question. The question is internally self-contradictory. How do you be intimate with new people without fucking the people in rapid succession? Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by intimate. There are degrees of intimacy. If you don't want to fuck, you don't want to do PIV, you don't want to do penetration, well, there's lots of other things that you could do. You could mutual masturbation, you could do oral sex, which some people consider penetrative, and you could roll around. You could say to somebody, well, actually, I have a digression here. Straight guys will often say to gay guys, you get laid so much more than we do, so jealous, so jealous. straight guys who have gay friends who all sound like that. And the truth is, we do get laid more than straight guys do. And we're also better at sex and know more about it. And it's not because, sorry?
You'll also have bigger penises.
That's true, statistically. Science has proven. But it's only because we have more people hanging from them. That study you cite where gay men had larger penises, the data was all self-reported. So either gay men are like genetic miracles and have bigger penises, or gay men exaggerate the size of their cocks. Occam's razor, likelier answer, exaggeration. So that straight guy, you have more sex than we do, switch those. And we're better at it, and we know more about it, and the reason we're better at it is not because we're magic and we're highly evolved. We are those things, but it has nothing to do with this. The reason that gay people are better at sex than straight people is because we are compelled to communicate in a way that straight people can avoid communication, and avoid communicating. A man and a woman go to bed together, they get to yes, they get to consent, and they shut up. They no longer talk about what's going to happen next because the default setting and the assumption, often on both parts, is PIV, vaginal penetration. That is straight sex. Two guys go to bed together, they get to yes, they get to consent, and it is the beginning of another conversation. And there's usually the thing that kicks off that conversation, I call it the 4 magic words, what are you into? That question, what are you into? And at that moment, either guy can rule anything in, anything out. And guys will say, I am not into anal. And the other guy does not burst into tears and run from the room. Because there's